6 running backs you should be adding off of your waiver wire and onto your fantasy football teams because running back is an absolute crap show right now. And everybody wants to talk about Sean Tucker. Let's talk about Sean Tucker. Out of absolutely nowhere. It's the guy we covered in Dynasty. He kind of went off the face of the earth for a little bit. Got a couple of opportunities at the beginning of last year, didn't do anything. And then he comes in today with Rachaad White out because of injury. And bang.
Boom.
There's Sean Tucker. 34 points. In full point PPR leagues. You love to see it from Sean Tucker when you're looking at the running back usage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Rachaad White out. He was outstamped by Bucky Irving 48-27. On early downs, 28-21. On the goal line, 5-1. Short yardage, 2-2. Third down, 7-3. In the 2-minute drill, Sean Tucker didn't see any of it. Yet, Sean Tucker still did score 34 points. The reason for this was because Sean Tucker had a lot of big plays. He had a lot of big runs. He had a couple of big receptions. And so because of this alone warrants Sean Tucker being a waiver pickup.
No.
He played way too well in an offense where you haven't really seen the running back position solidified yet. I think it was pretty clear at the beginning of the season that Rachaad White had that job if he were to run away with it. They were giving him most of the work. Bucky was getting a limited amount of work, and Rachaad White did everything but take that job. And so as the season has gone on, you've seen them ease in Bucky Irving, give him more work. You've seen Bucky Irving be more productive, be more efficient, just because he is a backup running back coming off the bench. You see that a lot with backups. And Bucky has cut into Rachaad White's workload to the extent that you're now moving Bucky Irving up your rankings and Rachaad White down your rankings, and they're pretty freaking close every week we're ranking these guys. The running back room in Tampa Bay, in my opinion, is wide open. They've got the quarterback. They've got the receivers to make a run, in my opinion. They've got a good enough offense outside of the fact that their running back position has kind of been all over the place because Rachaad White has been inefficient and has shown an inability to score touchdowns in that offense. And so with that, you've got Bucky Irving, who comes in as a lead back. Bucky Irving also played really well in this game, and you could be talking about Bucky Irving if you wanted to. But the thing about Bucky Irving is he was already somebody that's rostered. He's rostered in 78% of leagues. If you don't have Bucky Irving rostered in your league, you obviously go get him. But he had 18 points today. He had 14 attempts for 81 yards, and then 2 targets, 2 receptions, 24 yards. Now with Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker, again, got a lot less opportunity, got the same amount of carries, 14 attempts. So that's important to note there as well. Even though you saw even though you saw Bucky Irving out snapping Sean Tucker, they ended up getting the same amount of opportunities. And you might also say, okay, a lot of this came in garbage time because they technically were just beating the Saints. They were trying to run out the clock. But again, it doesn't matter. 3 receptions for 56 yards and a touchdown, and then 14 carries for 136 yards. That is 9.7 yards per carry, and a touchdown for Sean Tucker. In an offense that is one of the highest octane offenses in the league, you consistently have fantasy guys coming out and producing every single week. You saw it was Chris Godwin this week. It was Mike Evans the 2 weeks before that. You really haven't seen a running back establish himself there. Just because he played this well, you have to roster him. You have to pick him up. And this is going to be primarily on teams where you have extra roster spots to play with, where you can pick up a running back like Sean Tucker just for the upside. Now, what is most likely to happen here? Rachaad White comes back. Sean Tucker gets phased out. Yeah, I totally understand that. I was telling Nathan, if I'm the Buccaneers, I don't see any reason why you don't just roll with these two guys after how they play today. I don't even see any reason why you don't just try it. The team investment, again, with all 3 of these guys, they're all 3 on rookie deals. It's not like Rachaad White was a first-round pick. He wasn't a second-round pick either. Yeah, sure, Rachaad White, I do think he is probably the most talented back of the 3, but he definitely hasn't been playing like it. And so if you're the Buccaneers and you saw this out of your running back room today, why wouldn't you just move forward with it, give him another shot, and see what Sean Tucker does again? This is a breakout of, this is a crazy breakout. And Sean Tucker was a track star in college, right? I mean, he's played at Syracuse. He was a pretty good prospect there for a little bit, and then he didn't end up getting very good combine results and kind of fell in drafts. But he is 22 years old. He is 22. And keep in mind, this is only his second year in the league. So we know pretty much nothing about Sean Tucker. I don't think the Bucs knew anything about Sean Tucker other than what they had seen in practice. And now they've seen him on the field, and they're like, I think they're going to want to give him a shot. So
yeah, I'm worried that at the end of the day, since Tucker and Irving both looked so explosive today, that they're going to give them a majority of the carries. And then Rachaad White is objectively the most effective running or receiving back in that backfield. So he'll probably just get all the receiving usage. And at the end of the day, it's probably going to be a mediocre production output for every single one of those guys in the offense. Maybe with one of them booming every 3 weeks, right? Potentially. Yes. So that's the only concern that I would have is even though Sean Tucker and Bucky Irving looked so good, I feel like they're just going to want to integrate Rachaad White in some way. Not saying that it's going to salvage Rachaad White's outlook for the season, but I think it might negatively impact everyone in that room.
And so the one thing you do have to hold on to, even with that being probably true, is that if even one of these guys gets injured, Sean Tucker is in a role where he can be productive. Because you saw today he can be productive alongside another back. So even if
he's become rosterable for the next couple of weeks to see how this goes.
Absolutely.
For
so
sure.
Sean Tucker, he's a big one. Go get him. He obviously was one of the biggest stories today. If you need help with your fantasy football team, we do roster reviews and team reviews in the form of team blueprints, which is our way of doing a roster review all the time over on flockfantasy.com/domain. We can do one of these for you. I'll pin the link in the comments, but basically what you'll do is link your team on the Flock Fantasy site. You can use the My Teams tool, see where you are power rankings wise. You can link your team, and then you can submit your team for review. We'll create a team blueprint for you. We'll make up the team blueprint. We'll create a plan for your fantasy football team, and then we will send you your team blueprint so that you can use that to make moves for your team that will help you have a better chance of winning your league. Again, our goal is to help you win your league, and we do that with our team reviews, but our team reviews are really cool because they're this really awesome team blueprint. So if you want a team blueprint, like I said, link is in the pinned comment, also in the descriptions. Come check it out. We'd be happy to help you out and be happy to review your team, but let's get back to it.
Yeah, Kimani Vidal was another story, and it was really funny. I thought it was honestly hilarious that in our Dynasty leagues, I just got these random offers for Kimani Vidal out of nowhere. And I was like, you guys seriously think I'm stupid? Of course I know that Kimani Vidal is going to be starting this week. He's going to get his opportunity, and he did. It wasn't like anything insane like Sean Tucker, because they come off the bye week, the Chargers do, and they give J.K. Dobbins 25 carries without Gus Edwards in that offense. And Kimani Vidal has a grand total of 4 carries. Now, when you're looking at the running back usage and the snap share and the opportunity there, J.K. Dobbins has the upper hand in every single metric: total plays, early downs, goal line, short yardage, third downs. Kimani Vidal is the second guy there objectively, and it's not close. He had 20 total plays, or 20 total snaps, 15 of which were early downs, which is not what you're looking for when you're looking for like hyper fantasy production upside. He had no goal line opportunities. He had no short yardage opportunities. He had 4 third down opportunities. In a game that really kind of got away from the Broncos quite quickly, and it felt like the Chargers were kind of just screwing around, doing whatever the frick they wanted. I think this could be a little bit of a fake week for the Chargers offense as a whole. And what I will say is I do believe that J.K. Dobbins is the objective top option, top running back there while he is healthy and while Gus Edwards is out. They clearly just demonstrated that. I mean, before the bye week with Gus Edwards in the lineup, you had J.K. Dobbins getting 10, 17, 15, and 14 carries. Now off the bye week against Denver, he has 25 carries. Kimani Vidal, as long as J.K. Dobbins is in the lineup and is getting this usage, is not going to do anything at all. Not unless he gets like some crazy breakaway touchdown, which is always possible, right? But what I will say is Kimani Vidal is a great insurance pickup and a great option if you have the roster space on your fantasy team, especially if you're a J.K. Dobbins owner. If we've learned anything from J.K. Dobbins historically, it is that he cannot consistently stay on the field. He looks good when he's on the field. The question is, can he be on the field? Can he stay on the field? He has been able to for the first 5 weeks of the Chargers season in 2024. We'll see if he can do that for the rest of the year. And again, I'm not betting on injury. I am saying that Kimani Vidal is going to be one of the hottest names because he already is a pretty hot name. He will be the hottest name and the hottest pickup and the hottest target the moment anything happens to anyone in that backfield, because he finally got his opportunity. And yeah, again, he didn't do anything crazy, but I trust that he's going to continue to kind of be in that rotation. And I think he's earned his spot as at least the third option there, if not the second, even when Gus Edwards comes back. So eyes on Kimani Vidal. Again, not expecting anything as much as like Sean Tucker, but you're going to want to monitor his status for the next few weeks at least.
Let's talk about Tyler Goodson now. And honestly, this was just like 1 week too late for me because my original prediction was that once you saw Jonathan Taylor go down and everybody was picking up Trey Sermon, it's like, okay, Trey Sermon's going to break out. My original prediction was like, I think you're going to see Tyler Goodson actually get a fair amount of work and also be more productive because I do think Tyler Goodson's probably a better back than Trey Sermon. It didn't happen. Last week, he did have 8 points, but Trey Sermon did have 18, so he technically outproduced him. This week, Tyler Goodson had 10 points. He was a more efficient rusher than Trey Sermon was. It was pretty clear, honestly, watching the game that he was playing much better. Trey Sermon did outcarry him 18-8. 18 for 29 for Trey Sermon, 8 for 51 for Tyler Goodson. So again, Tyler Goodson was much better. Also, when you're looking at the receiving game, Trey Sermon did not see a target. Tyler Goodson got 5 targets and caught 4 of those for 14 yards, which is again why he had 10 points and why Trey Sermon had 2 points, and Trey Sermon essentially doubled him up in terms of rushing opportunity. And so moving forward, in this Indianapolis Colts offense, I do think you're going to see Tyler Goodson get more work than Trey Sermon. I do. I think that they realized today, and I think what I had suspected all along was that Tyler Goodson is probably a better handcuff to Jonathan Taylor than Trey Sermon. So when Jonathan Taylor is out, I think it is still possible that they give Trey Sermon the start, but you can expect Tyler Goodson to be the more efficient back. He's the change of pace back, and as long as he's coming off the bench, he's also just by nature going to be more efficient than the starting running back, especially a starting running back that's Trey Sermon. And when Jonathan Taylor does come back, you did see Trey Sermon at times this season getting a fair amount of work in the Jonathan Taylor backfield. What we expected to see this year was Jonathan Taylor get a large share of that work to the point where he would be getting every single red zone carry and every single goal line carry and every single third down snap. And you remember in the first couple games of the year, that actually wasn't necessarily always the case. You had Jonathan Taylor getting pushed off the field for some drives. I think it was week 2 or 3 where he was off the field for the last drive, actually maybe the whole fourth quarter, because Trey Sermon was on the field. So I think Indianapolis and Shane Steichen is committed to kind of giving this more of a committee backfield look. And when you're talking about who could end up taking that role, I think personally Tyler Goodson has as good a chance as any. Now, Colts fans hate Tyler Goodson because he dropped a pass on 4th down last year against the Texans, which really screwed us. But with that, he's rostered in 8% of leagues. And honestly, I think that he is somebody worth rostering moving forward over Trey Sermon, because I think he's a better back than Trey Sermon. And I also think it's pretty low risk to drop Trey Sermon right now, because even you've seen when Trey Sermon does get a fair amount of work, he is not always going to be productive. And honestly, Trey Sermon is a bust for a reason. He's labeled as a bust because he was drafted to be somebody that's good and hasn't been good in the NFL. And I think today what you saw is that Tyler Goodson could get more opportunity moving forward. And I think you saw that when they're both given opportunity, that Tyler Goodson is the more efficient back, that he is the more capable receiving back, and therefore I think he should be the more involved back in the Colts running back room moving forward, even when Jonathan Taylor does come back from injury. So you'll have Goodson. Maybe you can flex him if they do give him the starting nod next week, if Jonathan Taylor misses another game. But even when JT comes back, I think he's a good handcuff for your fantasy football teams.
Yeah. I think all y'all know what our opinion is of James Conner, especially at this point. If you've seen our buys video for this week, we have James Conner as a buy. I think James Conner is going to be fine when you're looking at his production. This week, it was very disappointing. He only had 6.7 carries. The previous weeks, he had 16, 21, 9, 18, and 19 carries. This is very similar, in my opinion, to some of the other games that have just been blowouts for the Cardinals. This one got away from the Cardinals real quick, like 24-0 quick in the first half. And at that point, James Conner, again, losing a fumble. There were so many turnovers in that game for the Cardinals. They were just sloppy overall. I think they were just trying anything possible and giving players that generally did not get opportunities, getting them opportunities in this game just to see if there could be a spark. If they could get anything going offensively and, feel a little bit better going into early next week and preparing for week 7. But with James Conner, in my opinion, I still believe he is the guy. That said, we are not talking about James Conner in this video. We're talking about Trey Benson, who does have a 27% rostership right now across fantasy football leagues. Look, with Benson, I think it's really interesting seeing his opportunities and usage in this offense, really going from absolutely nothing to actually kind of something. And that was 11 snaps in total plays for the Cardinals, 11 snaps on early down. So again, all of his usage came in early down sets. Amari Democrato was getting the short yardage opportunities. He was getting all of the third down opportunities and 9 snaps in the 2-minute drill as well for the Cardinals. So that's actually the most notable thing to me is Democrato got more than half of the total plays in that running back room this week. And again, a lot of that is going to be because of James Conner's lost fumble early in the game. So to me, Trey Benson is going to be a must pickup because people were expecting him to ease into the Cardinals offense to begin with when they drafted him to start the season. Benson has never been cheaper than he is now. A lot of the reason why we didn't like drafting him to begin with before the season started, because we knew this was going to happen, but we also knew that, again, he was going to be eased into this workload for the Arizona Cardinals. So expect this to kind of increase without super duper affecting James Conner. If anything, I think it's just going to affect Democrato's usage in that offense more than anything. But Trey Benson could make a dent and start, having some explosive opportunities, some explosive plays, maybe even some usage in the red zone down the line. And you're probably going to want to get him sooner rather than later before that increases, because he's just going to become more and more of a popular pickup.
All right, let's talk about Isaac Guerendo now. He came in after Jordan Mason exited the Thursday night game with a shoulder injury, and he had some flashes, right? You saw him make some runs of 3 to 6 yards. You saw him demonstrating some skill, but you also saw him on that 76-yard run that set up a touchdown where he was showing off his speed that we all saw in the combine last year. Everybody was raving about Isaac Guerendo, about how he had this crazy speed out of Louisville. He could be, the next whoever if he goes to the Miami Dolphins and whatnot. And so he comes in and gets his opportunity. And like I said, he had 10 carries. He had 99 yards, so 9.9 yards per carry. But again, 76 of those on one carry. And so really, if you're doing the math, it was like 9 carries for 23 yards, which is a lot less efficient than 10 yards per carry. And so a lot of times you'll see these big runs, especially from backup running backs, skew their efficiency, and you see that in this case. And so Isaac Guerendo could end up being fool's gold, and here's why. The 49ers schedule in terms of their next couple games, not super favorable for running back matchups. Jordan Mason is considered day-to-day right now. And so the odds are Jordan Mason's not going to miss a game. If he misses a game, I do think you see Isaac Guerendo become a lot more rostered in fantasy football leagues on Sleeper. And I think you are going to have a lot of people saying to start Isaac Guerendo going into next week. However, when you're looking at the next matchup for the 49ers, they do play the Chiefs next week. And then after that, they play the Cowboys, and then they play the Bucks, and then they play so not a super favorable schedule over the next couple of games in terms of run defense for Isaac Guerendo. And again, you have Jordan Mason, who is day-to-day. He had like an AC joint sprain. I would imagine he'll be back next game. And you have Christian McCaffrey knocking on the doorstep of trying to come back in early November. So again, you get into the November games. Do remember, they have their bye week in 2 weeks, right? And so week 7, week 8, and then their bye week is in week 9. And then you go into November 10th against the Buccaneers after their bye week might be when Christian McCaffrey tries to come back. And I'm not going to say Christian McCaffrey is the sole reason why I think Isaac Guerendo may not be a super good pickup. But I am going to say that I do think it's going to be hard for him to cement himself as a fantasy productive asset over the next couple weeks, especially with the news that Jordan Mason probably isn't going to miss any time. So I do think you pick him up, especially where you have extra roster spots to play with, just for the upside, just because I think he's going to be a little bit deeper of a pickup this week. Just because if you see Jordan Mason go down again, you are going to have him as a lead back until Christian McCaffrey comes back, and that does provide some immediate short-term fantasy upside in terms of scoring for your fantasy team. Again, Isaac Guerendo, if Jordan Mason is healthy, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, this is not going to be somebody who's fantasy relevant. I think all of you guys understand that. But in the meantime, we'll go pick him up off of waivers. We'll see what we can do with him. We'll hold him just in case he flashes. And then maybe we can sell high. Or, again, maybe you can plug him into your lineups at some point and he actually can produce for you short term and give you some kind of actual advantage in your fantasy football leagues.
I think Dearness Johnson could be a guy that you want to heavily target as well, and is kind of flying under the radar a bit because Travis Etienne not only suffered a hamstring injury in week 6, he sucks.
He's really bad.
He's
actually
really bad. This is something that we feared heading into this season, and just from the volume opportunity in the offense alone, we were like, his price is actually kind of good in the 3rd, 4th rounds. No, it was not. He is not good. Travis Etienne, bad. Tank Bigsby, a lot better. Dearness Johnson, apparently they think he's, just as viable an option as Tank Bigsby. When you're looking at the snaps between these guys and the splits and the opportunities where these were happening on the field, Dearness Johnson, 34 total snaps for the Jacksonville Jaguars compared to Tank Bigsby's 16 and Etienne's 11. Early down usage, 19. He had all 5 goal line opportunities. That was a shocker to me. I did not even know that coming into this video. I was like, Dearness Johnson, he's kind of the next man up. He's the second option. He could take away Tank Bigsby's job because Bigsby isn't anything super special. No, he just straight up got he took all the goal line carries. 3rd downs, 8 to Bigsby's 2 and Etienne's 1. Short yardage, Bigsby and Ernest Johnson. Bigsby and Dearness Johnson were like 2 to 3. So look, to me, I care totally about the goal line carries here. You're looking at an offense that has been incredibly underwhelming, incredibly disappointing. The receivers are hit or miss every single week, and so are the running backs. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to go for the guys that are going to get the most amount of volume on a consistent basis. And right now, it looks like Dearness Johnson has the best shot at getting pretty solid touchdown upside on a week-to-week basis as long as Travis Etienne is out. And even if Etienne comes back healthy, he ain't going to get as much work, man, because he has straight up been inefficient and disappointing this entire season. He's been like, his yards per carry have been disgusting. He had negative 0.3 yards per carry today. He had 2.8 the week before against the Colts defense. It has gone from bad to worse for Travis Etienne. Bad to worse. It was promising to begin the season, and he just has not been able to capitalize and not been able to get better. This happens with these ETN, I feel like, every single year at this point. So Dearness Johnson, sneaky little pickup. You can get him for pretty cheap at the moment.
There you go. Those running backs, again, in a running back landscape where things are just all over the place right now, they might be worth picking up on your fantasy rosters. But make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Really helps us out. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you later.